Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and this time around it's Mega Man, brought to us by Capcom. Now right off the bat, I wanted to look at the different box arts that go with this game. And first off, of course, it's the American box art, which just doesn't make any sense and is considered one of the worst box arts of all time. And I'm just going to kind of skip that one and go right to the Japanese box art, which you can see Rockman written at the bottom, Mega Man known as Rockman in Japan. And all the characters are there represented in more anime forms, more traditional Japanese animation forms. And I think it looks pretty cool. But the final box art, the box art that I actually like the most, is the European box art, which has that realistic thing the United States box art was going for, but pulls it off much better in my opinion, with all the characters looking as if they were more realistic. I even like the Dr. Wily up in the upper left corner, and of course the Wily Castle in the upper right. Now that that's taken care of, let's get going with the actual game and finally kicking off the gameplay of the March of Mega Man. With this being, of course, the very first Mega Man game, there's things in it that will get changed or improved on as the series would progress, including the fact that there's only 6 Robot Masters in this game, as well as a point system that we never saw again. Now, when they remade the game on the PSP recently, they added 2 new Robot Masters that kind of complete it to the normal 8, or at least the way we're used to it in terms of the other games in the series, 2 and up. But they added Oil Man and Time Man to the mix. Now, for this game, and for all my Mega Man runs, I'm going to be beating everyone with just the Mega Blaster, just the hand cannon. As well as I threw all the Robot Masters into a hat, and just threw them at random for which order I would be completing them in. I guess I kind of got lucky with this one in particular that I drew Bomb Man first, because he's the easiest, at least in my opinion, and I think most people's he's pretty much the easiest one. He's the easiest one to dodge his weapon and get around his level, and overall he's not too challenging, so at least I have something easy to warm up with. My least favorite in this game, the one I hate the most, is Fireman, because I've always had problems dodging his weapons. I can never seemingly get him in a pattern half the time, or get him stuck in a corner. Some of the other hard ones, including Electman, mainly because his weapon is so damaging, I've been able to find some tricks against him, including getting him kind of like stuck in a pattern, especially in his own level in the boss battle against him. Because unlike some of the other Mega Man games, the boss level designs, the actual den of the boss battles, is actually, some stuff around it that you can jump on and platforms and such. So they actually was a lot different. As they progressed, it became all like standard, just like the flat area for each Robot Master. But this one being the first, it was kind of different. They also did some of the different stuff, especially in Mega Man 2, but they slowly started to phase it out after that. This is of course considered the hardest of all the Mega Man games on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Just mainly because of the fact that there's some weird things. You don't get that extra bit of time after you get hit and land on spikes. In the other games, when you got hit and landed on spikes, you would have a few seconds that you were kind of flashing still, so of course you could get out of it. In this game, you fall on those spikes even when getting hit, you're instantly dead and you're instantly gone. Another reason why this game is considered one of the absolute hardest Mega Man games is the fact it has one of the hardest boss battles in Mega Man history, or in game history, in the Yellow Devil. Many consider it one of the hardest battles ever. And of course he takes place in the first level of Wily's Castle, so we'll have him coming up. And yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it because his battle takes a good amount of time, but I have discovered some tricks, at least over the years, that makes him a little bit easier. Now this is the end of the level, and we have one of the Sniper Joe guys who, he became a common enemy throughout the whole Mega Man series. But in this one in particular, since when he moves his shield, you can get some blasting on him. But in this one, he only fires 1-2 shots when he moves the shield. In the other ones, he fires like 3 shots, but you have a long period of time to just whale in some extra shots to hit him. Now another thing this game has different than any of the other Mega Man games is the fact that it has a area, or like a series of hallways and a series of enemies before you actually get to the boss level after you enter the boss door. Now here's the first Robot Master I'm fighting, and this is Bomb Man, and he's absolutely really easy. He jumps around a little bit, but not too much. He mainly stays put on the ground so you can nail in some shots. Of course, his deadly thing is, of course, his bombs, which have a pretty large hit radius. But if you can get on one side of the screen and Bomb Man's on the other, you can either move closer, slowly closer to dodge the bombs as they arc over you, or you can stay close to Bomb Man, and as he throws the bombs, move away from him, and of course the bombs will slowly hit as you run away, and you'll be able to dodge most of them. But since they don't do a whole lot of damage, if you have a good amount of health going into the battle, you should have absolutely no trouble whatsoever defeating Bomb Man. Okay, let's see who we got next. Okay, it's gonna be Cutman. And just like the other one, of course, you get to see a clear point score. But, like I said, since I'm not really doing this in any particular order, I'm not going to be using any kind of ability, any of the Robot Master's abilities against the other robots. The big, of course, drawing thing about Mega Man and what makes Mega Man so cool is the fact that after he defeats a Robot Master, he, of course, gains their ability. Which, you can call at any time by hitting, the pause menu. You can bring it up and change between any of the enemies you've already defeated's weapon. And every Robot Master, of course, has an enemy, or, one of the other Robot Masters they're weak against. Obviously, in some cases, like, water is going to defeat a fire guy, and such and such. But there's ones that, of course, made no sense, because as the series progressed, it became, they weren't all, like, elemental or anything like that. In this one, most of them, since they are mostly elemental, at least 4 of them, Gutsman is mainly ground, so he kind of is like the 5th elemental, and the only one who kind of throws things off is Bomb Man. Just because he throws bombs and he explodes and he has really nothing to do with a particular element. Then again, neither does Cutman, so I guess that argument absolutely makes no sense. So there is 4 of them that have elements and 2 that don't. So finding out who exactly is vulnerable to which Robot Master is pretty essential to when you're first trying to beat these Mega Man games, the very first time you were trying to beat them. Of course, you want to know who was going to be weak against what, so you can easily defeat them and just move on quickly. Some of the other Mega Man games, though, the Robot Masters became actually pretty vulnerable to the Mega Blaster, the hand cannon, especially in Mega Man 2. Guys like Airman and Woodman, once they opened up and you actually could get shots on them, they were really, really easy to get with, and they were actually dead pretty quickly. Now, of course, this is Cutman's stage, which has like the weird minty color to all the tiles, because I always thought it was a little bit weird. I'm like, what exactly did that have to do with cuts? But either way, he has, of course, these eye-moving things in his level, and they become a complete staple of the Mega Man series. They've been in every Mega Man game since this one. And they're really not challenging or anything. They're mainly there because they put them in mass quantities in the room, and it's kind of maneuvering around the room and killing them without, them running into you. It just became like a common thing. Of course, I'm going to watch out for the spikes here because, instant death if I land on them, regardless of what I do. As you can see, these, the rocks that I have kind of like built up on the, the left side there, if I have Gutsman's ability, I can lift those rocks and throw them at enemies. There's actually certain points where you're going to need Gutsman's ability in order to get certain things. For example, one of the extra weapons, the actual, like, extra, Mega Man ability. In the other Mega Man games, of course, Dr. Light would give you the extra abilities, such as, like, Rush Jet and stuff like that. But in this one, you actually have to find the actual final ability that you actually need in order to get past Wily's stage. Now here's Cutsman, and of course he throws his, scissor thing on top of his head at you, and then slowly moves around the stage. Of course it comes back to him like a boomerang, but it's really, really easy to dodge, and of course his jump, if he jumps over you, you can run under him. But after only a few hits, he's done for. He's actually pretty easy. I have him like pretty much the second easiest other than Bomb Man himself. Of course I get my clear points, which racks up nicely. Okay, let's see who we got next. It's gonna be... Oh, okay, it's gonna be Gutsman. As Gutsman's, of course, clear points racks up as we get 80,000 for defeating Gutsman. Gutsman's stage is absolutely one of the harder stages, in my opinion, in Mega Man 1. Because there's a part with some conveyor things that you have to jump on, and it's absolutely really, really annoying, in my opinion, to get past them. But through practicing the timing, this is the conveyors I'm talking about. When they get to the end, or when they get to one of those middle things, like they get to one of those middle blank spots, they do that. So you have to immediately be jumping. As you can see, the jumping in this has to be precise. It's not the hardest thing ever in Mega Man. There's harder jumping in, but still, it's one of the harder things. At least when I was a kid, I would die tons of times there. I would get Gutsman out of the way first, just because I hated doing this level. It's one of my least favorite Mega Man levels in general. It's just because of that. And we got the hammer throwing guy, who, of course, we would see more of these pick hammer throwing mech type guys as the games progress. Of course, one of the main enemies of Mega Man, of course, is the Met, the tool, which wears, pretty much they were mine.